Nice. I'm glad that I caught that on the mic. All right, so that is the beginning of the podcast, and
we're back.
We're back. And this time it wasn't because of my back.
No,
it was even because of John's back, actually. I don't know why he said it like that.
It was just, I don't know, my back's kind of breaking carrying this fucking workload.
I know, John was first John got sick. That's actually why we missed the podcast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, John and I are just falling apart.
We're old. We're, 56 apiece?
Yep,
we're collectively, 60?
But yeah, collectively, we're over 60 collectively.
Yeah.
Or are we 60? We're 60 collectively, that's true, I forgot. Yeah, so there's that. Anything aside work nonsense in your week, Mr. John?
Let's see. What's been going on? I hadn't, kind of aside, I hadn't checked the scale in a while, and I've lost, a total of almost 20 pounds.
Nice. Yeah. I think I've lost 15 since I hurt my back. So.
Yeah, man. Fucking, it's kind of nice. Like, doing that constant gym thing feels good, man.
It's nice that I can go, and I still have a little bit of a belly, but it's not that fucking pudge I had.
No, too much.
I can almost go straight down to the lower nether regions without like a huge ass mountain in the way. I was never like fat, but I did have a gut for a while.
I was a fatty. I'm gonna do those V cuts like your brother used to do in high school.
There you go.
Yeah. What else? What else has been going on? Fuck, man, it's been such a blur. I think that is 11 days straight.
Yeah.
No,
for work.
Me and this other girl at work checked our clock, and we're both at 100 hours for this paycheck. You believe that shit? 100 fucking hours.
Hell yeah. But the OT should be alright, though.
No, it's going to be pretty stellar.
You know why it's going to be good to have money, John?
Why is that, Patrick?
Because RTX.
Oh, shit.
So we haven't been able to tell you guys in a timely manner. Because by the time you guys are hearing this, it's already going to be later in this week. So, not that you were going to buy RTX tickets to come see us, but you might have already made your agenda by now.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we have to go over that still. I forgot. Oops. We'll talk about that after, though.
Oh, we did.
But RTX guys, if you guys are going to be there, we will be there on July 5th. We're not going to be there for the whole con. We very much debated it, but at this point, it kind of seems like it was a better call to just do one day for now. Yeah. Although we were going to miss something cool on Saturday, right?
Well, pretty cool. I mean, I saw Rooster Teeth tweeted out the other day that Stuber is going to be free for anyone who has a pass on Saturday. So check out Stuber. Could be cool, or I think it will be cool. I like Kumail Nanjiani and Drax is in it.
Yep,
it's a nice combo. They try to make it seem like he didn't say fuck, but he did say fuck in the trailer. Super obvious edit. But that's pretty cool. But yeah, we're going day one, so hit him hard, hit him strong.
And then next year, we'll probably do the whole thing.
Probably do the whole damn thing, yeah.
But yeah, we'll be coming to you guys live and documenting it, so if you guys can't join us or you can't make it to RTX, we'll try to bring RTX to you.
Yeah, and if you are there, we'll be memeing around.
So please come see us. One thing that we will be at for sure that I can announce to you guys is we will be at the live podcast recording for Castle Super Beast. Their very first live episode as Castle Super Beast. So very exciting. We're going to be making history with them in person. And we will be meeting them too. So come to either of the Castle Super Beast, either the signing or the recording, and we'll be there. And we hope to see you guys there.
Still memeing.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. What have you been up to? Oh, before we get into this, actually, because John and I have a section each coming up in a second.
I started playing Fortnite.
How about... Oh, Jesus.
No.
How about that Ava dub, huh?
Oh, yeah. I actually started that.
You should probably stop.
What? Really?
The dialogue is altered. So...
No, okay. See, I was wondering that because the captions and the dialogue are fucking completely off.
Well, yes, and then also just the fact that they changed context of several things.
Because in the original Ava once,
in the original Ava, like Kaoru and Shinji are kind of into each other, or at least Kaoru is obviously like gay with Shinji.
Those are the bully guys, or the
no, he's the gray one, the gray haired one, and the kid. But basically, they took just to give an example of what they changed. For example, they that was redundant. But they changed basically, without giving an exact quote, because I'm kind of think of it, I shouldn't ruin that scene. But just to give an example, it would be like in the original, and you guys can take this out of context if you guys want to clip it. It'd be like, "I love you, John." it'd be like, you know, John, I always noticed. To turn it into this is actually better. So that way this can be just cropped out and then thrown into wherever they want to put it. Yeah. But basically being like, you know, hey John, you know, I see you seeing me. I think this should be a thing. Blah blah blah. Not really, but this is just to give you an example. Clearly,
me. No, I got you. Yeah,
you got the reference too. That's pretty good. And then so it's like that, right? Then in the Netflix version, it's just like, hey man, I see you being a good friend out there. How about some friends? You know, doing that friend stuff that we should be doing as friends.
Can somebody please
as a totally hetero couple,
that manga anime Netflix adaptation meme for this?
But yeah, so that's basically what's going on.
So I heard there was a lot of backlash because I've only seen Ava once, and that was what, like 20 years ago now on fucking Toonami, I think it was. What I'm wondering, and I don't remember if this is Ava or not, is he still gonna jizz in her hand in that one scene?
Right, so that is Evangelion. You're thinking of the right anime, and I don't think they're gonna do that.
Okay, because I remember that stuck with me forever.
It was a very odd scene, and it was very
like, did I just fucking see that?
That stuck with a lot of people.
Yeah, man.
But we'll see. So they're basically Netflix is gay censoring Evangelion, which is weird because Netflix has also been praised in the past for very pro-gay stuff in Orange is the New Black and
I mean, it's one of those things like stuff. You don't even think, like, you know, like when you told me Lil Nas X came out, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, all right.
Yeah,
it's not that they don't care. It's
but we're talking about the same company, basically the same company that is being hoorah about it in several of their productions took a third-party thing and that had that already without their consent and then censored it? It's weird. Gays aren't allowed in the cartoons, I guess, according to Netflix.
I guess. I don't know, man.
Kind of seems like that's what they're going
You're
with.
Disrespecting Gynax.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, go ahead. I'm still kind of, like, I'm hyped. I'm a big Gynax fan. Like, old Gynax mecha series. Like, I love Gurren Lagann and Furikuri and all that.
Well, Gurren Lagann was Trigger, technically, was the studio who did that, but...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, I'm glad it's back. But I heard there was hype, I heard there was fan outcry, backlash. Yeah.
Well, we'll see when the live action Cowboy Bebop.
Oof.
We'll see about. We'll see about
some fan backlash.
That's what we'll see about backlash. Okay. So in the last couple of weeks, we talked about the regular stuff in our lives. Let's get into some video game stuff. First up, Mr. John and Bloodstained. We're going to go in order of release. How did that go for you, Mr. John? How's Bloodstained been treating you? Because I haven't got to it yet. Because I've been... we'll get to my part.
Without giving too many spoilers away, it does
spoiler-free, but definitely critique it to give it your own.
I mean, I love it. I don't know what... I heard there was like some... I think it was... correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was... I heard Kotaku said that the combat was repetitive and like it was just kind of not great, but
I don't know if Kotaku said that because... They may have, but as far as I know, no professional outlet said anything bad about it per se, other than the visuals.
Really?
Which
visuals are okay.
I was going to say, but then again, a lot of people I trust like the visuals. So, but all I'm saying is, from what I've heard, most of the professionals, it has a good Metacritic. It's just it's the only backlash I've heard. I haven't heard anything about the combat. Because I feel like it's so true to Castlevania, from what I've gathered secondhand, that to say that the combat is bad in Bloodstained would be to say that the gameplay in Castlevania is bad, period.
Well, yeah, it's the same. Like that's what.
So I don't know. They may have said that.
It was one. I'm probably misquoting, but it was one of those.
But some outlet supposedly said that.
Some outlet supposedly, and I don't know where that came from because it's not bad. It's not different.
I heard it plays just like Symphony of the Night. So to me,
that was my next point.
To me, if you don't like it, then you don't like Symphony of the Night.
It's exactly that. I mean, I feel like I just played Symphony like maybe a month or two ago.
Yeah,
and I feel that's what I'm playing here. I'm a little confused as to the because in the original Bloodstained, you get all 4 of them. Mm-hmm. Well, most of those characters are present, but I don't know if I'm going to get to play them. Like if I get to be
in a future update or something.
Yeah, because I saw that there was a mode where you can, I think, co-op. I'm not sure, or like expanded story. But it does follow like Symphony does, so you can, finish the game, or you can finish the game.
Yep, Metroidvania style.
Yeah. It's great. The warp panels are there. There's the annoying distance between save rooms and extremely difficult enemy types. It follows like a regular Castlevania game. The warp rooms are there, and there's the same distance of difficult enemies between save spots. So that keeps that frustration alive. You're struggling to get through, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it. The bosses are cool. The story is not original, but it's interesting enough to where if you don't play a lot of these kind of games or read these story types, like you'll be mildly surprised, I guess. But it's good. I like it.
Yeah, good. And so what I've heard, like I said, now that was the first-hand account, second-hand account time. From what I've heard, it stays true to the Castlevania series. It's so clearly a Castlevania sequel in another name because Konami sucks.
Yeah.
Konami. But that's good. That's good to hear, though. On my end of things, the reason I haven't been playing Bloodstained is because all my free time has been consumed by Judgment. So RGG Studios and Sega dropping the latest installment of the Yakuza series as a spin-off title, Judgment. I dropped the first impressions video of it, but very quickly, basically what I'm going to say is that it follows the story of a detective named Yagami and his kind of like crew, who consists of an ex-Yakuza and as well as his former law office is going to be involved in a lot of the stuff, and he's going into trying to solve the mystery of a serial killing that's going around. Several Yakuza have been found around town with their eyes gouged out, and that's the MO of the murderer. And the police obviously aren't looking into it too hard because who cares? Yakuza are killing Yakuza. As far as they see it, it makes their job easier.
Yeah.
But Yagami is about truly finding justice. His backstory essentially of why he's a detective, and I call him a former lawyer. His background, and this is explained in A, the trailer, and then B, in the first few bits, so it's not a spoiler in my opinion, it's just his backstory. Style? But basically, Yagami was an up-and-coming lawyer who got a alleged killer off... bless you.
Excuse me.
Who got an alleged killer off the hook, and proved his true innocence, or at least from what Yagami came up with, only to have that person 3 months later kill his girlfriend and burn down the house that they were in. So Jesus. Yagami, of course, feels guilty for the fact that the person that he got off the hook committed a very clearly now, from what was before proven reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Went to commit a very clearly he did
this
it now.
This motherfucker's a killer.
Yeah, he basically sees it as his girlfriend getting killed as being his fault. So he resigned as a lawyer and opened up the Yagami Detective Agency, where he works with the ex-Yakuza Kaito, and they go and they're trying to solve this mystery and look into it. And of course, as many Yakuza-style games go, the main story is serious as all hell. It's a nice crime law thriller, very serious. That's the thing about the Yakuza series, is whether it was Kiryu and Majima's journey in Yakuza or now here with Yagami in Judgment, the main story is completely serious. There's nothing funny about the main thing. You go into drug rings, prostitution, murder, everything about it is 100% serious. Whereas you go to the side stories and you're trying to for example, one of my favorite quests that you go through is there's this girl and her brother, late high school, early college, go up to you and ask you to go after this trio of sex predators who keep harassing his sister. Now, in context, obviously that's very dark. That's obviously not a light thing, but But as it's a side quest, what they do to lighten it up is they do add a little bit of humor in the sense that since the brother and sister are twins, they get confused for each other. So, light spoiler for a side quest. You guys can skip ahead for about 30 seconds. You'll miss this. The second guy in the trio is a former track star, and his thing is he grabs girls' asses, and that's what he did to the guy's sister, and his name is Ass Ketchum, and that is the name of the villain. So Ass Ketchum, as you have to catch him, is it's just stuff like that really cracks me up, and as you go after him, and the fact that he actually does call himself that is pretty funny. It's very obvious in that little side quest that they are aware of the joke, because even Yagami is like, really, he calls himself that, knowing the reference, because this does take place in 2018 Japan. So Ash Ketchum is, I just called him, I mixed both together. Ash Ketchum is very much, I mean, come on, Pokemon Japan, one of the biggest phenomenons in the world. So it's very clear that he knows about this, and they do stuff like that. I talked about that in my first impressions video as well, that I've always appreciated Yakuza's type of humor in being self-referential, but not making it so it doesn't age well. Even in Yakuza 0, which takes place in the 80s, when Kiryu's still a super young buck, but basically they have a lot of references, the game having been made in 2015, 16 or whatever, they very much are able to kind of do what I like to call future references, where basically there's a side quest where you meet a guy who talks about he's carrying one of the very first cell phones. It lasts like 30 seconds. It's a big bulky bag with an attachment and stuff like that. Yeah. But he basically goes like, "Man, this is the future. People are gonna have their phone with them all the time and be able to just talk to each other whenever they want." And then of course, you have Kiryu being like, "What? Yeah, no, that's never going to be a thing. People aren't just going to have their phones on them all the time and use them whenever they want." But obviously, the joke being there,
Jesus, that's massive.
Presence time.
I had to look this up.
Oh,
fucking yeah! Wow, look at that. That's an actual. Sorry,
yeah.
He's looking at.
So that's basically what the guy's carrying around. Yeah, but yeah, so stuff like that, and then in this game they kind of do that, but now it's 2018, right? So you have the self-referential humor now in that sense, where you have like this, for example, the way Yagami finds some of his people sometimes, as one of his cohorts teaches him, is look through social media. Everyone is so self-centered and talks about their days and everything all the time that it's all public information now. It's easy to find people because they're telling you where they're going to go. So you try to, in one of the side quests, you try to track someone down, so you check their imposter Twitter, whatever they call it. It's also funny when they do that. For example, they have a parody of Kickstarter, and they're called Quickstarter. So yeah, stuff like that. But anyways,
so you read Finsta, but like an actual a facsimile of Twitter,
right? Okay. So it's like that, and you're looking through the hashtags and everything, and basically they have very self-referential stuff, like not self-referential, excuse me. What references like today's times, quote unquote, because when this game came out, it was in late 2018 Japan, and it takes place in late 2018 Japan, so it was kind of coinciding to when it was released to give you that feel of this is actually happening at the moment. Yeah. But basically, one of the tweets would say something like, "Just met up with so and so," like she's going to like an idol club or whatever. "Just met up so and so with for a date. He's looking like a snack." And that kind of language and that kind of like internet humor. You have people saying like, there's a guy you meet in a restaurant who talks about the idea that the other guy has calling him the absolute madman, and just those type of like memes and stuff like that have been used before. So anyways, I dragged that a long point of the fact that they do that, but in lieu of doing a full review right now on the cast, one thing I will say is as you progress with the story, there's a minor gang that joins the pictures that basically does a raid on the town every once in a while. And it happens a little too often that it gets kind of annoying, because if you don't, I guess it's completely optional, but when it's active, when that mode is active, you run into gangs more often as you're walking around. It's just annoying if you're just trying to get side quests out of the way, if you're just trying to progress the storyline. It's a little impeding of it. It does have its flaws. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that even when you return to a building you've been before, you have to still sift through your keys to use the right one. I feel like stuff like that could have been cut out, and the game would have actually probably benefited from it. The one thing I do not mind that I've heard several people complain about, including Jim Sterling, is the lockpick minigames. In Morrowind and Oblivion, I was very good at them. I tend to be pretty good at lockpick games in most that have like the manual. You know, those that obviously listening to this don't know what the fuck I just did. I was doing the motion for hitting up the pins.
Where you have to hit the tumblers and
the right thing, or if you don't, it'll reset everything. And I'm very good at those mini games. But several people, I guess, they're not good at it, or they just don't care for that type of gameplay. That's one of the main gripes I've heard is that. So basically, there are a few little things that hurt, but there's a few good things that they have as well, where like the use of the drone. You have a drone, and the use of it's actually pretty useful in investigations, and you can do drone races, which is really fun. But again, like I said in my first impressions video, and this is the final thing I'm going to say on it, is that it was very necessary that they differentiate Yakuza and Judgment, because then there'd be no point in it existing. Why have a spin-off if it's exactly the same? Yep. I think the game does a very good job of being absolutely perfectly familiar. You've been going through this town of Kamurocho with graphical upgrades over the time, but this is the same city. You've been going through the same city in the Yakuza games since 2005. You've never left the fucking city. You talk about other cities, you talk about Tokyo, you talk about wherever else, but the game since 2005 in all the games and spin-offs, with the exception of the Fist of the North Star spin-off, has been in Kamurocho. So at this point, I've been playing the Yakuza games since 2013, 2014. So for the last 5 years, I've been in this city. It seems so familiar. It's great. Playing as Yagami and this new protagonist, playing as a detective instead of a Yakuza, but the Yakuza are there. Now, none of the actual... they didn't go ham on the references, because none of Kiryu and all them even appear in this. They're not even referenced. They're not a cameo, nothing. I thought there might be, but there isn't. And anyways, so Yagami playing as this new character with new gameplay styles, it's cool. Yeah, they took karaoke out, and that was one of the best mini games in the Yakuza series. But again, what would have been the point of him if he didn't have his different mechanics, for better or worse? And most of the time, it's for better. So definitely check it out. Bloodstained, Judgment, both getting the disconnected thumbs up. So that sounded painful. A disconnected thumbs up. But anyways, so yeah, it gets our seal of approval. There you go. Let's get right into the previous news. So we're gonna first we're gonna cover the news that happened while we were out, and then we're gonna talk about very much exactly in the format that we did when I was hurt, and then we're gonna talk about the current news.
Cool.
We're in that weird period. It's post E3. No games are trying to be overshown by E3 right now, so there's not much announcements. It's more so just what's happening in the world and industry as opposed to what's new, because everything that was new we talked about in E3. So the developers of Assassin's Creed Odyssey talked about how after the same fucking game over and over and over again, how finally changing it up but keeping it familiar enough worked out for them. And that's why Assassin's Creed Origins was good, but this is a different team that worked on Odyssey, but they basically took what Origins started to turn and change and really perfected it in Odyssey, and they talked about how this really revamped and saved the series, which was admittedly getting pretty stagnant even in the eyes of
the fan base.
So there's that, and I thought it was really cool that they at least acknowledge that, and let's hope that they continue, because Origins and Odyssey, great Assassin's Creed games. I've been tired of those fucking games forever. The only ones I really like are 4 and 4. So, 5 was fine,
I like those little side-scroll ones.
Oh, yeah, those were pretty good. The spin-off ones were pretty good. China and Russia. But yeah, so they found their stride again, and let's hope that they can continue it. That was really, really good.
Point on that, I feel like a lot of games kind of use a similar template nowadays, like almost that RPG... what's the framework? Not framework.
The tropes, basically, or like the skeleton, the framework.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. When you're writing a paper, you use
a template.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just kind of I don't feel too much of a differentiation outside of a good story. But that's just me. Fair enough.
And your points are definitely valid towards criticizing it. I just think that they finally found that mix between stealth, action, and RPG finally in these current games, which is good.
Not Odyssey. I didn't play Odyssey, but Origins is fucking great. It's hella fun.
Very, very good. What's not fun is Nintendo continues to be very disconnected from reality and what people actually want. So we talked on the last podcast, I believe, about the Super Mario Maker 2 news, where they talked about how there is going to be online play, but you won't be able to play with friends because you somehow sabotage.
Why would you want to do that?
Because you'd somehow sabotage the sacred leaderboards, because what an MLG game Super Mario Maker 2 is. And that was their big concern, and that's why they won't have it. I'm sure they're going to eventually remedy that. We'll hope.
2 years' time.
They do that. You know, they have problems like that. And of course, they had the thing where you had to use your phone app to talk because fuck building chat into the actual game.
Let me just open Discord.
Exactly. Discord is amazing. It's been one of the best things to happen to gaming and communicate. Yeah, it's great. And you know, it's a perfect mix of chat, forum, and voice chat. So there's that. I don't know why they wouldn't do that, but Nintendo. That's just in the previous news. Nintendo continues to stay disconnected from reality because guess what? They're not going to have full-on cloud saves for Animal Crossing, a game that you're going to pour hundreds of hours into, and you could potentially lose all that progress just by losing or breaking your Switch.
Yep.
Why? Once again, not the leaderboards, because there's no such thing as leaderboards in Animal Crossing. They're scared people are going to manipulate. Oh no, you're going to have double berries because you're going to have two Switches and one's going to be offline all the time, but then you have to get online but you're going to use the... Basically, there's a non-issue.
That's just like being lazy with extra steps.
It's just... To me, it's more work to take it out. Like, they already have the infrastructure and framework to do it. And it carries on into Pokemon having their issues.
I mean, I don't care. I love it. I'm gonna get it, but I just at this point it's almost become a habit.
Right. Well, Pokemon's issue is going to be, so they're going to have the whole Pokemon Home thing where they're going to have they're going to add cloud saves to Eevee and Pikachu despite not having it in there for the same reasons that Animal Crossing and Mario Maker 2 is not going to have it, but now they're going to have it because they're going to add it. But the thing that has people a little tilted about Pokemon, at least the Pokemon fanatic, is the fact that this game will not allow you to have all the Pokemon. And that is what everyone is, you know, a little perturbed about. People, of course, hoping that when the game launches, that it will go ahead and eventually have all that. Well, I have the answer for you right now because the Pokemon producer, what was his name? I totally forgot his name. His name is Junichi Masada. Already confirmed that Pokemon Sword and Shield does not have all the Pokemon in it, nor will it ever have all the Pokemon in it. So if your pipe dream was that in the future they're going to... Nope. He's already confirmed it. They're going to try to put as many as they can because they're going to have to make the models. They're going to have to make all the animations. They're going to have to do all that stuff.
Things that already exist.
And they're not going to have all of them because, fuck it, it's too much work. That's not what he said, but...
Yeah, that is.
But, you know, but regardless, he does say that he hopes that people will still go ahead and play the games anyways. But... You know, if you don't want to, that's fine, I guess.
See, this is one of those things he knows we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
We know we're going to do it, so...
Yeah.
Motherfuckers.
Cyberpunk 2077 has a few news. They talked several things. They talked about how they're going to have more romance options than even The Witcher 3, which already has like a quadrillion romance options. So there's that.
For that shit.
Yep. They talked about how they're going to have a non-binary... They're going to have, a genderless class, and they're not female nor male class, class race option in the game, so you don't have to be male or female, you can be a neutral race or whatever they're going to call it in the thing.
Didn't they get
so they're doing this weird thing where CD Projekt Red is in the past already been proven to be semi-homophobic. They've used gay community hashtags in a joking manner. There was the controversy around the trans imagery, the unnecessary trans imagery in their latest footage. All that to say,
which in itself can be kind of construed as coming across as comedic.
which is why it was under fire. That's the whole point of why it got controversy, was because it wasn't done in a serious light.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would be like having an Uncle Tom in your game, blatantly being an Uncle Tom, so I can see where the outrage is coming from.
Can we say that? Is that okay?
Uncle Tom?
Yeah, is that...
I mean, that's what they would be putting in the game, so yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be like doing that. So I see where the backlash is coming from. It's whatever. They seem to kind of digging their hole deeper by continuing to try to appeal to the LGBT community despite being kind of LGBT community. So it's weird. So they're doing a lot of this stuff. They put the trans thing that failed. Now they're trying to do the genderless gender, and then now that's probably going to fail. The way I see it is that as long as you're not slurring an entire group or slandering them, just make a game. If your game is going to be all white people, as long as you're not doing it because you're a racist, then just do it. Everything doesn't have to be the Power Rangers for the cast. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let me tag on it, because I had this discussion the other day about Max Payne the movie, right? Versus Max Payne the game, which is predominantly all white people. Mm-hmm. But what was it? I think Ludacris is in Max Payne the movie.
Oh, is he?
God. I think so, because we were looking at the cast and it's diverse to be sure, but it's like why? I get it. You want to be inclusive, but like you said, if you're not being exclusive to the point where you're trying, on purpose,
yeah,
being
exactly.
Racist,
mm-hmm.
If your cast, it's kind of worse to go out of the way.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me, pandering is missing the point.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're just trying.
Including for inclusion's sake is not a good thing. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to not see a movie or play a game because there's no Filipinos in it. Because guess what? I wouldn't be playing fuck all.
I saw Godzilla the other day, right? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, because I think the girl is Chinese. I'm not sure.
She is,
right?
She's in a lot of... that has a lot to do with... It's like the 10-cent Fortnite thing. It has a lot to do with Hollywood being owned by the Chinese. I figured she's just an insertion. But yeah, anyways, what about her, though?
I felt she's Chinese, and then you have the almost token black guy, military black guy in there, and then the girl that kind of looks like Rihanna but is not. Mm-hmm. And it just felt I was thinking wow, that's a pretty diverse cast, but it's you gotta have a Japanese person. You gotta have Asian people in a Godzilla movie.
Well, and that's the thing I was going to say, right?
Look at 97 Godzilla.
That's what I was going to say. So you have that 97 Godzilla, whatever. That's all that, right?
Well, that's a shitty movie.
But let's look at
other reasons.
But let's look at 90% of the Godzilla movies where they're all Japanese.
Yeah.
Is that racist?
Oh, totally. No, of course not.
But you see, now it gets to the point where I don't want to get into that, but my whole thing is, it's kind of funny, right, how one way is wrong and then the other. Anyways.
Well, it just made me think,
Cyberpunk, just be good.
Well, yeah.
That's all we ask.
That's it. Just be good. Don't do it on purpose. If it fits, it fits.
Yeah. Because if not, you're going to get more shit for it. Yeah, exactly. And then you went out of your way to do it. And then, of course, they also did say that there were going to be Witcher 3 style expansions for it, rather than just little tiny DLCs that last 10 minutes each. They're going to have these massive expansions.
Give me 180 hours of gameplay. That's what I want.
Speaking of 180 hours of gameplay, probably, if not more, Final Fantasy VII continues to shape up and look amazing. You had me when it was announced 5 years ago being a fucking absolute narcissist. But as of late, I've been more of a defender. Because now people are getting a little too twisted on it, where I'm like, guys, look, I was a narcissist, but you guys are being fuckheads right now by complaining about it. To me, the way the game is right now looks about as fantastic as it's going to be. It took everything from Advent Children, which isn't much, and kept that graphically on their models, but are staying pretty true to the Final Fantasy VII world, the original one that we know, where it seems like to the point where they see and predicted fans' concerns that it was going to be lacking, that it was going to be a Reader's Digest version, and people were going to miss the political and powerful moments of the narrative. But now it really seems like they're going to take their time with it, and even though the game's probably going to take several years to fully release, we're talking about well into the PS5 to wrap up.
Yeah, it
seems like it's going to be very good. We're talking about a lot of content coming here, so chapter 1, which originally was planned to be a trilogy, now they said they don't know how many episodes it's going to be because they want to do it right. And I'm all for that.
Yeah.
First chapter is going to be chapter 1, which is going to be Midgar, the very first section that takes place. Now, I already talked to you last time, and you were very taken aback about how early Midgar is, where I talked about how Midgar to Halo is the spaceship at the beginning of Halo 1.
Pillar of Autumn, yeah.
That's going to be all. They're gonna do such a massive job of that's going to take place of all of Chapter 1. How big is this game going to be? The director already talked about it's going to be 2 Blu-ray discs. It's going to be as big, if not bigger, than Red Dead Redemption 2, one of the literal biggest games that are out there. Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy VII is going to take on that burden and do that. So that means we may have this huge caliber explorable world where I can do even more cool mini games and explore Midgar and be in that shit like I've always dreamt of as a kid, being like, man, I wish this had GTA 3 graphics and I could run around and do and do all this stuff where and run around in this massive world. Now that actually may be a thing because the game is going to be huge. Of course, they revealed Tifa's design lately, so we finally got to see her at E3, and they addressed something very interesting. The director addressed the fact that her breasts have been reduced from the original, triple D cups that they were in the original series to now a more reasonable size to what would work for... So basically, they talked about how their ethics department, which is an actual thing in their company, wanted to make her realistic. Very much what they did with Lara Croft's rework in the reboot, and then again in the reboot. Because... And they actually explained it themselves very specifically that Tifa is a bodybuilder type character.
Yeah, she's fit as fuck.
Her breasts, in lieu of getting implants, couldn't naturally be triple Ds. That's not really the size, but I mean, in her character model at the time, that's basically what they looked like.
Yeah, they were like double
Ds. They couldn't literally be that big if the rest of her form and her background doesn't support the fact that they'd be swinging around like that. So they basically, and I think that they did her design very well. It's a good mix of an old design with a few refreshes that are very, very nice, and I think I'm happy with the way she came out. No one really, huh?
There was a little bit of outcry about that from the 4chan boards.
I was gonna say, so there. What I was originally gonna say before you inserted that, which is, so there hasn't been any actual backlash from people, from human beings on this, but they decided to go ahead and explain that anyways, despite the fact that there hasn't been any opposition to her design at all.
Yeah,
which is good.
Who cares?
Well,
I mean,
it would be. You gotta well, I mean, I can see who would care. It would be like turning Idris Elba's character in The Wire into a white person in a remake. It's altering the character because that's a signature part. It would be like if you had. It would be like if you had. God, who has an iconic hair color? What's a character?
Joseph Joestar?
No, he doesn't have an iconic hair color. It's
purple
just black. Or purple. It's purple black. It's supposed to be black, actually, but they just did that to make it look more popping with the thing. I can't come to mind. Who's a character that has an iconic hairstyle?
Okay, well, the Joker, green.
Oh, there you go. Okay. It would be the equivalent. It's part of design. It's character design. A girl having big breasts, change would be like the Joker coming back and having purple, pink hair.
So her titties were that big apart, huh? Not even joke, not
1996. 1996 in video games. Aside Lara Croft and Tifa, who it's hard to tell because they're two different types of models.
Yeah, Lara had those.
How many characters had large breasts versus now in 2019?
I can't remember. I was fucking
exactly
on Star Fox back then.
So there wasn't, and that's the thing. So given the time period to now, it's like saying, oh, back in 1980, that was relevant, but, now it's not. Well, yeah, but look at the first part of that sentence. Back in, this type of action or thing was very big and relevant in 1980. It may not be now, but to change that, if you're doing a remake of a piece, if you're going to do Miami Vice, no one wants to see the millennial version of Miami Vice. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it was part of her design to the point where it was a character trait of hers. As Barrett is black, Tifa had big tits. And that's a part of her design. So to change it was a very risky call. But I love the redesign, and I think that they did a very good job. Because given body ratio to her body type, they're still, there. And they're still, for what they are, appropriate size. So to me, it's good that they did that, just like what they did to Lara Croft. I thought the redesign was done really well.
She's still got them tickle bitties, but it doesn't look ridiculous.
Yep. They talked about the battle system being very much like the future games. It's going to be done by the director of action director of Kingdom Hearts 2, which did a good job. One of the only things that I give a fuck about in the Kingdom Hearts series is that the battle system in 2 was good. So they're going to be mixing the Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 2's battle mix of real time and the turn-based, kind of mixing it together. Very cool, kind of keeping it loyal while keeping it fresh. Because let's be fair, one of the things I didn't care about when I've been revisiting Final Fantasy 7 recently is the turn-based combat's a little now. So it's nice to give it a bit of an update. I think it'll make the game flow really well for what you're seeing visually to what you remember. So we're hoping. I also am very curious to see in the end. People are thinking now probably about 5 episodes maybe. If it's still a trilogy, fine, but those are going to be a massive trilogy. Because after Midgar, Jesus, you still have so much more to do. So there's a lot, but hopefully it'll be good. It seems like it really will be.
You think Cloud's still going to get Gangnam styled by them dudes?
Oh, I hope so. It seems like that'll definitely be in this part, because the end of it should be the end of Midgar, and that happens in Midgar. So yeah, he should.
Oh, so we'll find out early on. Okay.
Hopefully. Of course, at the time that all that news came out, I wanted to talk about how the Final Fantasy soundtracks came to Spotify and Apple Music. Yay. So for those who wanted to enjoy the great soundtracks, because that is one of the great things, about Final Fantasy series, is its soundtrack.
So it's a G.
Yep, exactly. I miss him making the music for it. I mean, the new music in 14 and on is still pretty good, but he just killed it. It's like Jeremy Soule and the Morrowind Oblivion soundtracks. Skyrim's composer did a pretty good job, but Morrowind and Oblivion soundtrack they just knock it out of the park. Especially Morrowind, still one of my favorite of all time.
Yeah, it's like Martin O'Donnell for the original Halos.
Yep. So we talked about Telltale Games being delisted because of the company collapsing and rights fights and all that stuff, right? So that's continuing to happen. So if you want them, get them physical copies, because something like this might happen. Recently, Minecraft Story Mode has been pulled. Some people, of course, that don't keep up with the news. That's why you should listen to Disconnected Cast every Monday at 11 a.m. to stay up with the latest in video game news. Because you would have known that when we've been talking for a while now that this would have happened. Well, people were a little upset by that. Microsoft did an interesting move. Whereas on other storefronts, PlayStation Network, Steam, and all that's just gone. Mm-hmm. What they do with Minecraft Story Mode is they went ahead and relisted it. And to cover rights costs, so I'm assuming, they didn't say this is why, but I'm assuming, they went ahead and put the episodes back, I believe it's 4 or 5 episodes, for $100 a piece. You can actually buy them. A page for Minecraft Story Mode did say, please do not buy it for that much. However, if you really want to, if you're a G or you really want to play Minecraft Story Mode that bad and cannot find a resale copy, which I'm sure is a lot for the physical copies, you can do it. It's now a $500 game.
Jesus.
But you can buy it. So Microsoft and Minecraft Story Mode, of course, very much adamantly telling people not to go ahead and do it, but giving you the option nonetheless. And we like our options, don't we?
Yeah,
and this continues to show why an all-digital future and stuff like Stadia is not a good thing.
Yeah, the more I look at the Stadia, the less I'm inclined to be about that.
Exactly. Positives of Stadia. Well, if you look at everything that's available on their service, and if it is really available for $9.99 a month, hey, that's not bad. You'll never own anything, but you can continue to play the hottest games for $10 a month. If you can knock out a game or two a month, well worth your money, obviously.
Yeah, but who has that time?
And if you're not, but then the downsides is you don't own anything. So when you decide to go ahead and cancel your subscription,
that's it.
What are you going to do? See, I don't have PlayStation Network right now because I have no need to, because I've just been playing fucking Judgment.
Yeah.
So I have the choices. At least I still can play Judgment even without that subscription.
It's like when it went from owning Word to renting Word for the year. I hate that. Yeah. I'm not a fan.
Another downside of Stadia, come to think of it, and I actually didn't mean to plan to segue this way, but it worked out in the end, is that Destiny 2... remember I was talking about how in the new expansion, how they're revamping Destiny and everything, and how everything's going to be crossplay? asterisk, everything but Stadia.
Really?
So Stadia, once again, giving another reason maybe not to go ahead.
So you and like 12 other people can play with each other? That's cool.
Yep, so yeah, let's see how it goes on there.
My biggest gripe is just the bandwidth issue.
Yeah, that's it too. Yeah, plus
that's
like,
the biggest
actually,
thing.
I'm sure this isn't even hyperbolic, 80% of Americans, because of the internet infrastructure in the States, wouldn't be able to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't stream 4K over that shit. I have Google Fiber, and I would be able to squeak that out probably.
Yep.
So there's that. Platinum Games head honcho Inaba recently talked about how next gen, it's okay. Inaba basically talking about how it's cool to see that the games will load faster, especially because both systems are confirmed to now have backwards compatibility. Xbox confirming that it'll be backwards compatible all the way back to OG Xbox still, whereas PlayStation just confirming that it'll at least be backwards compatible with PS4.
So there's going to be like no wait time when you play Coder.
Yeah, basically. So Inaba was basically saying that's all cool, but he said, I really don't see what, and I'm paraphrasing severely, so please, this is not quoting Inaba, but in essence what he was saying is, cool, everything will be faster. Glad for the people. This is what the people deserve. Because load times suck, especially in 2019. But the rest of that bullshit, Microsoft 8K, 240 frames per second, PlayStation 8K, 60 FPS, this shit ain't happening. Come on, let's not get hyped about shit until it gets proven. So the way he sees it, he's excited for what's going to be viable and what next gen's saying, but not really buying into the hype of what's just being said. Because as we saw last gen, PS4 and Xbox One are capable of 1080 60 FPS. Barely fuck all does that on there.
He's right.
Unless you're playing on the Pro or the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
So, and even then, a little bit more. So I think he's got the right idea. Let's not blow our load so early and appreciate what we know for sure it can bring us.
Yep.
Oh, here's a good one. This is the one I was excited to talk to you about. I was a little disappointed we didn't get to talk about this when it was fresh, but hey, we can still talk about it.
So,
EA, and the Epic sent a Fortnite representative too, but it was primarily EA eating the dick cake.
Oh, no.
So, overseas especially, loot box has been deemed illegal in several European countries especially. Denmark, UK. It's highly illegal. It's been removed from several things, in Overwatch, there are no loot boxes. In Apex Legends, there's no they don't have loot boxes like they do here. They have like a whole different system. It's more of a crafting system in overseas Apex Legends.
That's fucking
to
cool.
Collect stuff to craft as opposed to getting a chance to just get the same fucking thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And then in other games,
it's just cool. I like that.
It's just been completely removed, right? So UK legislation was basically like, look, EA, you can still sell FIFA and all that shit here, but just take out the loot box stuff. That's all we ask for. EA, of course, not having any of it. So they're like, fuck that, we're not removing it. Then the UK is like, we're going to see you in court if you do not remove this shit because it's promoting child gambling.
Yep.
No, it's not. Let's get our arguments together. We'll see you in court. So EA, go ahead. They were seen in court recently. Carrie, one of the higher-ups in EA, of course, defending loot boxes. It was a funny clip that came out. You can watch the whole thing, or at least the highlights of it if you want to the actual court case.
To see that.
But one of the Irishmen on the council, I believe he's Irish, please, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, he was basically like, he kind of started off the argument and being like, all right, so... loot boxes, basically child gambling, yada, yada, yada. And she was like, excuse me, sir. We don't call them loot boxes. And the guy's like, okay, whatever you want to call it. It's still child gambling. And she goes, hear me out. So here's what one of Carrie's very first statements is. We don't like to call them loot boxes. We call them surprise mechanics. And they're absolutely ethical. I choked up my spit there, and that was not a bit. Actually choking, but... that was actually the words out of her mouth.
So the pitch for defense?
Basically.
Not those loot boxes, those loot boxes.
Essentially, I mean, EA is going ham on it, and they're basically now grasping at straws, and they're basically just renaming it. First, they were called, what did they call them? Recurrent user spending, loot boxes, all sorts of stuff, right? They're just rebranding it and then throwing the same spam out is what they're doing. They're just changing the can, but the same whole half-ass meat in there is the same, but you're slapping on a new label and throwing it back out to the public. That's basically what they're doing. She goes on to basically, her argument is, well, you guys are calling loot boxes unethical, right? Yes, that's what we're here for today. And it's because you guys are saying it's child gambling. That's what it is. The data supports. Well, I mean, kids like Kinder Eggs, right? Okay, yeah, kids like Kinder Eggs. What's the difference? Isn't a loot box just a digital Kinder Egg?
I don't know what you lost.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you're American. Kinder Eggs, for the rest of the world, are a little chocolate egg that you could get, and inside is a toy. At least they used to be. Now they're just little shitty cardboard stuff. But it used to be a little capsule, and you opened it. You broke your egg open, you got the capsule, and saw what kind of toy you got. Be different lines of licensed stuff or just generic toys, whatever. So it's basically what it is. So the argument is
box figures that you can buy everywhere.
Yeah. So basically, she's trying to equate it to that. Yeah, this is your what is the Blizzard one's called, like Cute but Deadly or whatever series of stuff. Yeah. She's basically comparing it to that. A kid who gets a surprise toy buys it because they they want to get the surprise, right? Even if the toy in there may not be what they were hoping to get. It's like getting a double pull in Overwatch. But is it though? To me, it was a very Swiss cheese argument.
Yeah.
I kind of see where they're going for, but everyone in the court, I mean, when she said the original surprise mechanic rebranding, the Irishman actually laughed. like by accident. He wasn't even trying to be overtly like, a dick. He reflexively, you could tell it was reflexive laugh. Like she said it and he goes,
like the fucking
and it was just like
lady.
Yeah. And she fumbled around and bumbled around so much in her arguing that it was so clear that Bobby Kotick or someone at EA had their foot so far up her ass that if she does not get them out of this hot water, she's fucking gone.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, it's a scare. She was scared, kind of.
I mean,
plus she knew bullshit with diarrhea was coming out of her mouth.
Her final defense isn't that far off, because when you put it in that context, yeah, it kind of is like gambling with those little toys, using like the Cute but Deadly. Because you don't know what you're going to get. You get something you like, you get something you don't like. I mean, I guess in an extrapolated sense, it is. But
it's a weird one.
Yeah, it's.
I get what you're saying, but it's different when the odds are digital due to chance. I guess to put it in short, right? Once that Kinder Egg or Cute but Deadly figure gets boxed and you buy it at Hot Topic or Walmart or Target and you take it home, 100% there's no way between you driving to Target and to your house that got swapped in between. But when the digital odds are there, they can just pull a lever and be like, drop that skin to 5% chance.
Well, I was just gonna
raise that skin to 80% chance.
I was gonna take it a step further and say, like, you can monopolize your odds too. Like back in the day, we pooled our money together and bought a Legend of Blue Eyes box, right? Mm-hmm. And we got 3 Blue Eyes out of it. First edition fucking Blue. I wish I still had that. But you can't do that with, like, you can't just drop $65 on a bunch of loot boxes and get guaranteed.
Exactly.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
There's at least some incentive, right, where you buy, like Max, for example, buys some of those figure things for his unboxing, and I mean, for those who don't know, Max Mofo buys like crates of whatever figures, and then like opens a bunch of them, right?
Yeah.
Those odds, like he did the DBZ ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those odds, you will get a rare, guaranteed at least one in the box. You bought a crate, you'll get at least one rare.
Yeah, you're going to get a secret.
Whereas the loot box chances are so much more. You know what I mean? There was one Overwatch event. And this is the thing, I used to be the it's optional person. But as time goes on, and I've heard very good arguments as to why it's a little more deeper than just optional, is I realized I may not have a gambling problem per se, but I realize I do have a bit of a gotta collect them all type problem.
Mm-hmm.
Where I will actually have like a mental stress and problem if I don't get all the Diva and Mercy skins, because I main them. So there was an event where I spent $100 on loot boxes just to get the Diva skin.
Yeah.
And the fucked up thing is, I got it in the last year, even $100 worth of loot boxes, and I still almost didn't get it. people who have even more of a problem than me, deeper than me, people like me, are kind of a victim. And there are people who are even worse than me that have more than just a mental thing, have a gambling problem. He told about this really good story that was a bad story, but a good story of fans of him that wrote in, and he said he's eventually going to do the full scoop on that and do a full, hopefully do a full interview if they want to be revealed. But basically, he talks about how when the times changed, it was a couple of brothers. His brother's life was actually ruined by gambling. And one of their ways to get out of it and their therapy was they got into, and this is like early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, or maybe even 2010s, video game was their outlet, and they got into Call of Duty. Well, what happened to Call of Duty over time? You see what happened, right? And that got taken away from them. Then they went into, I forgot the next example, but let's just say for, story purposes, then they got into FIFA. And that was fun.
In FIFA?
Oh, it is the worst.
Oh, that's how we started this bit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually one of the worst at it. It's gotten that bad.
What do you get? I
don't know. Oh, well, it's like
Manchester.
Yeah, basically players are essentially gimped unless you get certain buffs, and then certain players are held behind. It's really bad.
Oh, it's just stupid.
The game is really unbalanced unless you get into that stuff.
Okay, that's fucked up.
Exactly. Yeah. So then that got taken away from them. Yeah. Now you see the point of the story.
Yeah.
When I started to realize, I was totally blind to my own issue. But then when I heard stories of people like that where their issues even beyond mine, and I didn't even realize I had a problem when it came to that, that's when I realized loot boxes are more than just optional, because they are predatory on those type of personalities and those type of people with problems.
And kids don't know better, so...
Exactly. And then it goes down into that and how it conditions them. And the more that we do say that this is okay, the more that we say it's just optional, we're kind of supporting it. I hate to say it. When I bought those tons of loot boxes, and I'm not going to lie, I may continue to do it, especially when a good skin comes out, it's a problem. And it's a bit predatory even to people like me. And I would say that I have a higher resolve than the average person when it comes to resisting temptation like that normally. So, just a little bit there I thought was interesting. So, that being said, I hope it really does bring to light and kind of accentuate for those who are kind of wondering, is it really that bad? For those of you who are listening, I hope that really does emphasize on how bad it actually is. Even if you thought that the EA trying to defend that wasn't so scummy, I hope that story that I just told and in my own experience really makes you realize how scummy it actually is.
Yeah, I can see the American market doing nothing to counteract that.
Basically. And they're actually the ones who are the only ones, last of the few that are kind of keeping it alive.
Oh, so surprise. Peak capitalist bullshit.
Exactly. Just Dance 2020 is supposedly going to be the final Wii game. Now, we talked about how it was even wild it was even coming out for that and how it still was continuously doing it. But I believe it should be the last one. You know what's sad is there's probably...
let us know, and let us know why.
Yeah. You know what's sad is there's probably still more people there that enjoy their Wii than the Wii U.
Yeah, that's probably
true. The Wii U is a sad console because it had so many good games, but there were so many problems with the console, and it was so poorly marketed that it died, and all those hits like Wonderful 101 just went under the radar.
It's a neglected child of the Nintendo family.
It was, and it's... Yeah, that's sad. But we'll see. Speaking of which, too... Speaking of dead in the water, the Wii U randomly got an update this month. I guess last month. Technically, we're recording this. It's July.
Who has a Wii?
That's even There's actually more people that probably actively have a Wii and use it than a Wii U.
Yeah,
and that's wild. The last update for the Wii U was like September 2018, if not sooner than that, some shit like that, and then just randomly dropped one. It's all just stability shit, but that's weird that they even have anyone working on that. That was an odd one.
Yeah, and not importing all the Pokemon Nintendo.
Yeah, so they could have got their ducks in a line there.
Fuckers.
Of course, people are just going to go, actually, Game Freak, but...
I know who fucking makes Pokemon.
Yeah. Here you go, John. This is going to be this news might be interesting to you in your wheelhouse. Halo Reach.
I'm so fucking ready for this. God damn.
I'll let you say your Halo Reach piece real quick too before I get into this Halo Reach thing. You were telling me something earlier
about it. Is just go to YouTube, type in "Are you ready for Halo Reach?" Me and my best buds watched that on acid one time right before we played Halo Reach, and you'll understand why we love Halo Reach. No, it's fun. It's a great game. I mean, we hated it initially because it skewed the lore, and it still kind of skews the lore, and But anyway, no, it's a fantastic game. I love Sword Base. Long Night of Solace is one of my favorite levels. Great game. Can't wait. Can't fucking wait for PC Reach.
So, Halo Reach recently did their PC test. It was open to 1,000 players, and as you can imagine, especially when it comes to PC,
because they're the 343,
it was leaked. So more than that 1,000 got their hands on it. However, 343 is taking it very seriously. Oops, I hit the mic, sorry. 343 is taking it very seriously, and many people are going to be banned because of this. They're looking into both who leaked and who played the leaked copies are going to be at risk. With the article I read, I believe it was Destructoid, made a very good point where they said that, is it really worth it to like get banned permanently and then now you're not going to play it just to play a few minutes of it? Because it's a very limited test, so was that really worth it? I think the majority would probably say no. Just wait.
Yeah.
God damn, there's so many good games out there like Bloodstained and Judgment that, why?
I mean, ban the leakers, maybe perma-ban the leakers, maybe like semi-ban the people that played the leak.
I guess they're just trying to make an example, so I think
I know, I hate that shit. Don't fuck that exemplary bullshit. We get it, don't do it, but you know, people are gonna people.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's really it's not. Was it worth it?
Probably not to get banned.
One of the good notes on that, I like how they're pushing for high reports of any bugs so they can fucking get their shit together, unlike the MCC, which took, 2 years to everything's finally okay now?
Right.
Jesus. I remember we were playing the other day and matchmaking started up in like less than 30 seconds and we were freaking out because I went to go get something to eat and I think he went to go pee and yeah. And the match was already started. We're like, what the fuck? Okay.
But yeah, well, you know what? We're in, John. Let's take a break and tell people where can they find you on the internet, Mr. John?
You can find me at Evil Dead Guy on Twitter and new Instagram soon to come. So I'll update.
Wait for that. Pending news on that. We'll talk about that whenever it comes out. And you can find me and all my projects. Well, you can find me on the internet at most places on handle at ZDRocker altogether, and you can find me on my projects at SlimAsianEntertainment.com, and of course you can watch all the episodes, listen to all the episodes, past, future, and present of Disconnected Cast at disconnectedcast.com.
You can find us on YouTube.
Yeah, get us there, SlimAsianEntertainment.com. I do all sorts of stuff on there. All my babies are on there, including this podcast, so check that out.
Thanks, Raj.
There you go. Oh yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, shouts out to Raj, man. He's powering through his cancer and he's looking well, so well wishes to him.
Yep.
Going back into the news, Games Done Quick 2019, the modern... I like this article that talked about it recently, how Games Done Quick is essentially the modern day telethon. So, and for those of you who don't know what a telethon is...
What the fuck is a telethon? I know what a telethon
is. For the youths who don't know what that is, back in the day, there would be a TV... there would be a TV program. I know people used to watch live TV, and they would have bands on there, or they would do it during certain marathons of shows, and you would call in to donate to a certain charity or whatever the cause was, and that's how they would raise money and have celebrity presences there.
There's
and stuff like that.
There's so much about telethons that involved in that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Wired phones, fucking
everything about it, basically.
Everything about it. It's crazy.
But Games Done Quick is basically the modern one, and this recent one for the summer Games Done Quick 2019 raised $3 million for charity, so very good on them for that.
Yeet.
Good on that. Games with Gold. Games announced for July. You're going to be able to play Inside. Very, very cool game by the makers of Limbo. So, in the vein of that, definitely check that out. As well as a game called Big Crown Showdown. Whatever the fuck that is.
Big Crown Showdown.
And for the Xbox 3, and for the Xbox 3, that's for the Xbox One, and for the Xbox 360, backwards compatible games for this month are going to be Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Fitting.
Cool.
Very fitting. And Meet the Robinsons. Why the fuck would I want that? It's free, whatever.
Terrible movie.
There you go. PlayStation Plus free games for July is going to be Pro Evo Soccer 2019. At least there's not microtransactions. At least not game-breaking ones. As well as Chase Turbo, whatever the fuck that is.
Discount Rocket League?
Is that what that is? Is that what that is? I'm sorry. Horizon Charge Turbo.
I don't know.
Whatever the fuck that is. Anyways, and some fucked up news happening this... I made that sound a lot more dire than it is. It's fucked up, though. Trump's 25% tariff will be affecting games very badly. It would make the $400 price tag of the PlayStation at the moment be a $500 price tag. You can only imagine with Scarlet and PS5 what their potential prices are going to be with what they're going to offer. Jesus. Can you imagine that with the 25% tariff?
That's assuming he's still there.
Yeah. That's assuming he's still there, so vote accordingly. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo wrote a group letter to him saying how that's going to fuck up the industry and why, basically.
Yeah, but that's assuming he can read.
Well, I think someone's going to read it to him is the idea that Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo had. But let me put it this way. You got Sony on board with writing that letter.
Yeah, I know, right? Sony's playing ball.
Yeah, so what does that tell you?
What did I see the other day? Sony's hyping up that PS4 and PS5 are going to have cross-console play. And I was like, that's cool. PS4 players can play with PS5 players. Why don't you play ball with everyone else?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, everyone can do that, and then what? Like, I was like, yeah, I know. It's funny. They're just trying. It's weird.
Anyway,
we beat that dead horse a million times. Phil Spencer talking about the current state of Xbox.
Big Phil
talks about how, admittedly, Xbox didn't do too great this gen. However, he's looking forward to next gen as well as the remainder of this gen and being very positive about it. He talked about the 14 first-party titles that were announced at E3. How Big Showtime, was able to show off some stuff that's got people actually excited. Lots of people who aren't even supporters of Microsoft admitting that Microsoft probably did have best in show at E3.
Yep.
So there's that. He also talked about how whereas a lot of PlayStation and even Microsoft and Nintendo's titles are all slated for 2020 releases, 12 of the 14 announced titles at E3 for Xbox are going to be shipping within the next fiscal year. So a good amount coming out this year as well as next year. So there is that. Nice to hear Philip Spencer kind of, being honest at least, and then also saying for their hopes. So we'll see. We talked about last time on the podcast that they wanted to buy a Japanese company and try to attack that market again because in terms of Japan, ever since the release of the original Xbox is the weakest selling console by a whole country mile, and just does not do good in Japan. And Phil Spencer hopes that they can turn that around, and they really do want the Japanese to be on board with their console as well. So we'll see. Let's see. More news. Is there any other news? Because I actually had Pokemon Sword and Shield on here twice, both in negative light. About it's all the same stuff. One I do want to ask, and we don't want to go too deep into it because I'm sure people are tired already about hearing about it when we talked about it earlier. But in an objective sense, do you feel that despite the decisions that Game Freak, Pokemon, Nintendo made, that the game should still be supported?
Yeah, because two paths can be approached here. If people boycott and don't get Sword and Shield, like the core fan base is just like, no, fuck you guys. You're not going to play ball with us. We're not going to play ball with you. Nintendo can either do two paths can arise from that. It's like, oh, okay, well, we'll do better next time. Or they can just be like, all right, well, fuck you. We're not going to do any more Pokemon games for a while. Yeah.
Now, not they're not going to do Pokemon games for a while, but that does seem to be their stance right now, where they're basically like, take it or leave it. Because they have made a very firm stance where they're just like, they're not all going to be in a deal with it.
Yeah. And then everyone buys it, and Nintendo just continues this trend.
Exactly, right? So now that you've put out the paths that I was hoping that you would put out, just because, that just makes sense, you're a pretty fanatical fan as far as the people I know. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's anything wrong with just going ahead and fucking bucking up and doing it and playing it?
Well, let me put it this way. Pokemon Crystal was my favorite game for the longest time until I played it again, like a year ago, 2 years ago, and I realized you can't get Mareep in that, and Mareep is my favorite electric type, Ampharos is. And that really fucking killed Crystal for me, because I loved Crystal. It was super fun, super cool. And I'm just like, really? Like, I have to trade to get it in? And I can't. Who am I going to trade with, So that killed it for me. So, depending on what... I haven't looked into what Pokemon are coming in, because I don't even know when I'm going to be able to get it. I can understand how this kills it for a lot of the fan base, because not everyone likes the same kind of Pokemon. I'm sure there's a fucking guy out there, or girl, or whoever, whatever who loves Durant. Durant is their favorite fucking Pokemon. They love that Steel Ant, man, and Durant's not going to be in Sword and Shield. Well, fuck this game.
Durant isn't even going to be in the Warriors.
I know. I saw that earlier. I always name my Durant Kevin.
There you go.
And then I left him in a box by himself because fuck Kevin Durant. So I get why there's a lot of backlash and outcry, because
that's very interesting to hear, because from a more casual fan's point of view, I really did see it as, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
People are freaking out, what's the big deal? It's interesting to hear that to the Pokemon faithful, there is a big deal.
Yeah, man. Like, you have your, what was that thing that trended on Twitter for a while? Whatever the name of the town is in Detective Pikachu, like, you would have your persona of that with your favorite Pokemon. Mm-hmm. You know, like, Hydreigon's my favorite Pokemon, the Ghidorah Pokemon. Like, if he's not in the game, I don't know if I want to play it.
Interesting.
Why am I going to play it? He's not going to be my team, so I'm not going to have that go-to.
That's where I can see it. Now, of course, Pokemon competitive scene, Pokemon's always been an extremely imbalanced game anyways. Mm-hmm. But that's where I could see the complaints. That's the only, well, from my point of view, I could really see the complaints mattering is those who play competitively. Oh no, because that's like when each iteration of a fighting game comes out, and if you main someone in a fighting game, the next iteration doesn't always have it. Mm-hmm. I get it now. That's where I get it from, that perspective.
I mean, well, I wasn't even speaking comp wise. It's just like, if I can't go through
just as a fan, from the Elite
fan Four,
yeah,
like with my Hydreigon, then what's the point? Like,
interesting.
You don't get to live that through that.
Right, you got to go with your other
persona,
choices.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially if it's the kind of game where some people won't even have their top 3 or more in that game, probably.
Yeah,
for
like
some people.
See, that's why I'm hesitant, because I don't own a Switch yet. I said I wasn't going to get a Switch till Pokemon came out.
And now it's still maybe not.
It's like, yeah, I might not even go ahead with that. So, we'll see. I need to look at the list. In fact, let me see if there's a list of what's been. I'll check later, yeah. But, yeah, so for a Pokemon, for the core fan base, it's a huge deal.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting to hear. That's what I wanted to know. So there's that. If you guys, of course, agree or disagree, hit us up at disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. That's not the main topic. I just wanted to let you guys know how to reach us. Let's see. DMC dropped on the Switch. The port, I mean, it's just a port. It's not like a remaster. Plays well. Looks good. So, good.
Cool.
Hopefully it does really well, and then we get more of the DMC games on there, because we should. Especially DMC 5 would be so good on there.
Yep.
Recently, in time that we were out, they dropped a Mario Battle Royale game. A fan made a classic OG Super Mario Battle Royale, and the way it worked is that you dropped into a classic Mario map, right? And you're running around. There's the different hazards and stuff like that. And there was 100 Marios, and you want to be the last one standing. So using the environment, getting in the way of the other Marios, you can't kill each other directly. It's not like Fortnite where you attack each other, but you're trying to be that last person in the course to get to the end, and like you're using the environment and everything to kind of just, make your way. Be the last Mario standing through the course.
So I was going to gripe, like, oh, cool, another Battle Royale, but that's an interesting...
It's actually very cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Of course, Nintendo being one of the strictest when it comes to CNDs, they hit it with a CND. But it seems like the creator was already anticipating that. Nintendo got a Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And what did they do? They rebranded it. So they took the original down. You could play it on a browser, too, which is really cool. It's a completely free game, and you didn't even need to download it. You just played it online. They brought it down, and they've changed it a couple of times, but they basically re-released it as C&D Royale. And they had legally distinct characters. They had references to the fact that it got copyright taken down. They changed the map, the music, and everything. It was pretty funny.
And so, Nintendo tried to dick slap and got dick slapped back.
Yep.
That's nice.
So I forgot the name of the guy, but shouts out. Cool stuff.
Stan a King, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Steam... Valve kind of suffering in the head. They're kind of doing that weird thing where Epic keeps, Epic's wild on the attack, and then Steam is just like lying there taking it.
Yeah, not
even Microsoft has been the biggest savior of them by being like, nah, let's support Steam. Steam's still not making the headlines for the right reasons. The Steam Summer Sale is back again, and as everyone knows, that's one of the deadliest sales to a wallet every year. Once again, some pretty good deals are out, but they tried to spice it up and did it in kind of a weird, convoluted way. They basically had it where there were different teams. You had Team Corgi and Team something else, and what you do is by reaching each of the requirements, you got your team points, and by going with your points, you, of course, would move your team along. The winner of the team had players on the winner team had a random chance. Random players would be selected to potentially get a free game from your wish list.
Cool.
Which would be cool if it was more organized. Of course, like in Mortal Kombat, with everyone being Lin Kuei, everyone was on Team Corgi and not whatever the fuck the other team was, and it was really imbalanced, so then Steam had to fix that and try to make it more even playing field, so there we go. But what was happening, here's where the negative impact came. Not just was the game really stupid and imbalanced, but here's where the problem came, is people were like, well, what if I'm the selected winner, right? How many of you out there, John and I included, so feel free to answer this, Mr. John, how many of you out there on your wish list on anything just have a bunch of dumb bullshit that you just are like, wish list, oh, that game? Wish list. Yeah. And you have a bunch of shit on your wish list that you're never going to play, you're never going to fucking buy, and you're never going to look at ever again. You probably forgot it's on your fucking wish list.
Yeah, exactly.
Your Amazon wish list or whatever.
That's cool. Wish list. Oh, hey, interesting. Another Cthulhu get wish, yeah.
So what people started doing, now scared of the chance that they might accidentally get some fuck-all game that's on there for no reason, started removing games to their wish list. What's the big deal, someone might say, for those who don't know how Steam works. What's the big deal? Well, the problem is, this hurts indie developers, because indie developers' chances of showing up and appearing in the algorithm is based on who has interest in their games, including on how many wishlists they appear in. So now they started dropping in that sense, and Steam had to eventually go out and kind of speak up and break the way it works. So they're like, okay, guys, look, this is how it works. You get the top game. So just move it to the top game. Stop removing everything.
Classics.
And just put it, whatever you want as your chance of winning, just put it as your top on the list. That's
there you go. That's could have said that from the beginning.
Exactly. And since this is all bad design, so the Steam summer kerfuffle went down and...
Yeah, the only way Valve could come back and like stay strong, Half-Life 3. Just saying.
God, the thing that'll never happen.
I don't know, man. We got shit-ass Duke Nukem forever.
Right. I know. So we're Gaming News Podcasts, and I'm going to talk about Kari Joji Fukusana. Anyone know that? Anyone know who that is?
Joji?
Director of Bond 25, the yet-to-be-named upcoming James Bond film.
Not Idris Elba?
That's going to be coming on there, and it's coming out. And production's been a little shaky and delayed. Staff has talked about how Fujisana is not really... Oh, Fukusana. See, what the fuck? I'm just making up names now. Fukusana has kind of huh?
That's Fujifilm.
Has been delayed, showing up late to the set. Kind of not really
serious.
Taking the film too seriously. So in a recent interview or exchange, to address these accusations, was basically like, I'm totally not just playing Red Dead Redemption 2. No one ever once accused him of that, nor has anyone in the staff ever stated exactly what's causing these delays, but he just kind of burst out and was just like, yeah, totally not Red Dead 2. Promise. Bond 2 is going great. I just got a few things to catch up and work on. Production's going a little bit slower than we intend, but not Red Dead 2. Just so you know, I just want to make it clear, for anyone who may think that, even no one said that, it's not Red Dead 2. Just saying.
It's like if your roommate knocks on your door and like asks if you're hungry and you shout out, "I'm not masturbating."
Yes, exactly.
wait. Okay, cool, man. You're playing Red Dead 2, but can't you do your fucking job?
Oh, yeah, I know. It's weird. It's just funny that he's the one who kind of knocked on himself.
That's so stupid. Like, all right.
Platinum Games one more time appearing, talking about how Astral Chain, I'm assuming, they didn't say that it's if it does well, but I'm assuming sales will obviously have a lot to do with it. If it, probably going to be a trilogy, so that's interesting to hear about a game that hasn't come out yet. But it's Platinum, so I'm actually a little more on board with that. Of course, they did talk about, this is going to be a Nintendo title, but they did mention, of course, as we talked about before, that they're going to start self-publishing, so it'll be interesting to see. A lot of the red tape with Bayonetta taking a while to come out because they don't have all the control, Scalebound getting canceled. Platinum not being in the driver's seat entirely hasn't always worked out, even if they've been riding shotgun a lot. It's nice to see that they'll finally have full control because they do have some really cool IPs. So we hope that it goes from there. So what we're going to wrap it up on in our final topic that we wanted you guys to talk about is we kind of discussed all digital future, and we talked about the whole loot box controversy. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about it? John and I talked about that at length, so we're not going to just recap and reiterate what we said. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that loot boxes being made a big deal, calling it child gambling, is that hyperbole? Is that exaggerative? Or is the legislation like UK and other countries that are banning it, are they right to do that? Which side in there do you really side on? We do want to know that, honestly. If you can make a compelling argument for loot boxes not being, negative, go for it. We'd definitely love to hear it. We've heard all sorts of arguments such as it helps fund the game. Is that true? I mean, people bought the game. But hey, I'm not trying to fuck up your argument. You tell us. You know what I mean? I'm asking a question. I don't want to answer it for you.
And if you have any loot box stories, hit us up.
Oh, absolutely. We would like to hear that. You want to talk about it, even a mini interview? Please tell us. And then of course on the other side of things, with what was it? Loot boxes. And what the fuck was the other thing I said? All digital future.
Yeah.
Do you have concerns? What do you think about that? What do you think about the Stadia as more things get revealed? So make sure to hit us up at disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. Once again, that's disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. Remember to hit us up at RTX if you guys are going to be there. Again, June 5th, we're going to be there all day.
July 5th.
Oh shit, I'm in a time machine. It's the second time I did this already. July 5th. Please don't go in a time machine and see us on June 5th. There's not going to be anything there.
Yeah,
John and I probably weren't doing anything.
Man, you don't want to be there.
So yeah.
That's
but
bad.
Yeah, July 5th, Austin Convention Center in Austin. RTX. Come see us.
Be there all day. Hit us up. Say hi.
Yep. And then, of course, we'll be giving you coverage from that. And then also doing a little vlog. So make sure to check that out. Anything else, Mr. John?
No, man. I think that's it.
All right, guys. Until the next episode, we will see you guys next week after RTX. God, we're going to be tired as fuck. We're probably going to have to record the episode the same night because I don't even know if you're going to be coming back in the next...
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's going to be done. We'll do it.
But we'll do it. So we'll see you guys. Next episode will be after RTX, or we'll see you at RTX. Until the next episode, take care, guys.
We're going to record the episode on the road.
Oh.
Oh.
Maybe.
Have a good week, y'all.
All right, take care, guys.